Nebraska fell to Colorado yesterday. Final score, Colorado 36, Nebraska 14. And I understand that there's some frustration around the way this season has started for the good people in Lincoln, Nebraska. Let's kind of take inventory of what things look like right now. It's not all bad, definitely not all good, probably somewhere in the middle. I'm not here to deal you some hope. I'm just telling you there's more to this story, and I think a longer vision that is required to kind of assess things right now in Lincoln and what happened yesterday. Really quickly, though, make sure you're subscribed. It's college football. It's only college football, nothing else. Nebraska faithful, y'all have been phenomenal locking in with us. If you haven't yet subscribed, no time like the present. Follow me on Twitter. I guess you could call it X, or Instagram, at JD Pakel. We appreciate you in advance for that. All right, so yesterday, man, I'll be real. It's hard for me to get a great gauge for Nebraska's identity. And I say that knowing what we want Nebraska to be internally. Like, we want to be downhill. We want to pound the rock. We want to be game control and all those things if we're a Cornhusker fan. But even so, man, like, the identity of Nebraska recently has been the little things, the little mistakes. And it's hard for me to gauge what you want to be big picture when the little things continue to blur that up. Like yesterday, the 4 turnovers. I understand what Nebraska wants to be offensively, but we haven't been able to even have a good gauge for it because they continue to shoot themselves in the foot and have trouble even setting up their own offense, which is so frustrating if you're a Nebraska fan because you're like, we have all these pieces. We've seen Gabe Ervin tote the rock. Why can't we put something cohesive together? And the little mistakes, the thing with those little mistakes, they have a big impact. They have big consequences. Like, it wasn't all bad yesterday. You saw Jeff Sims tear off a big run. You saw Gabe Ervin toting the rock. I believe Nebraska had over 200 yards rushing. But even so, the little mistakes kept getting in their way. It's like when you have blisters on your feet. Like when you have a blister on your foot, it doesn't matter how fast you are. You're not able to actually open it up and go full speed and move how you're supposed to move. If you've got blisters on your feet, that holds you back. And they're little now. Nothing is structurally wrong with your foot. Nothing is broken. Nothing is pulled. Just a little bit of a friction on your foot caused that little bump, or however blisters work, and we got problems. And that keeps us from getting to where we want to go. That's what Nebraska has been right now. Structurally, I don't feel like there's a ton missing. Is it the best roster in the Big Ten? No, but I think it's good enough to win football games. I thought it was good enough to beat Minnesota last week. And it's this whole woulda, shoulda, coulda. I'm not even saying that they should have beat Colorado yesterday. I think Colorado had a great game plan, and they executed, and you got to tip your hat to them. But for Nebraska, like, you're not worried about that final score right now. You're worried about, hey, why are we continuing to get in our own way? We're not even able to see how we match up with a team like Colorado because we give them the football 4 extra times. Like, that is so frustrating and so maddening. There were several times within that game where it felt like Nebraska had an opportunity or an edge to really, make something happen. Like, there was definitely a path yesterday where Nebraska could have controlled the line of scrimmage and been able to dictate terms to Colorado, hold the football, and make that a low-scoring affair and have a chance to win that football game. Now, that's woulda, shoulda, coulda language. We don't speak too much in hypotheticals, or we try not to, at least when it comes to Nebraska. But what happened was you gave the football to Colorado extra times. Defense gets worn down. Like, it's just kind of the reality. And so it's got to be a complementary system for them going forward. So the loss in the immediate situation for Nebraska hurts for a couple of reasons. The first is just losing sucks. Like, I promise you, having been around Matt Rhule for a short period of time, man, ultimate competitor, is not someone who even thinks about losing. It's not on his radar. Losing is just not even in his vocabulary when it comes to what he's about and what he accepts. All right, so losing just sucks. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is what this means for Nebraska's aspirations to make a bowl game. That was kind of how we defined this season for Nebraska in terms of like attainable goals. Because if you were a Nebraska fan, you probably looked at these first 2 games and said, okay, we can get one of those 2. Whether you felt good about Minnesota, you felt good about Colorado before we figured out what Colorado had under the hood and when they played TCU and all that, you thought maybe, okay, we can steal one of those. We can get one of those and start 1-1 and kind of get this thing rolling. Now you're looking at the rest of your schedule in terms of games that you are penciling in as a win to get to 6. Feel good about NIU. Feel good about La Tech. Feel good about Northwestern. None of these are guaranteed wins, by the way, just probably the way that you're looking at the schedule. That's 3. Where's 3 more? Purdue, at Michigan State. I don't know about Michigan State. Iowa. What are they going to be? Like, there's just so much more unsettledness within their schedule right now with how they could track towards getting 6 wins. Now, make it very clear. I am not selling my stock in Matt Rhule at Nebraska. I'm not selling my stock in this season. Just what I said, this roster still has a lot of pieces on it to where they can be competitive, but we understand now that climb to a bowl game gets a little bit more steep, as it would with any team whenever you drop a football game, especially when you drop the first 2. So that's the immediate situation. The long-term situation, I think, for Nebraska is very different because you see all these little mistakes, you see these little things, these little details that fall by the wayside. A motion comes across the formation, we snap the football, the ball's on the ground, like little things. That's a timing thing. That's a not snapping the football when he's a yard in front of us kind of thing. It's small. I promise you, they've repped it many times. I don't think it's a situation where they have those issues in practice. Environment probably contributes to that, but like we all understand here, those are little things that make a big impact. And let me say this, Matt Rhule, he majors in the little things. Perfect story that describes how he approaches the details part of things. When I played for him at Baylor, played's a strong word, when I was a part of his team at Baylor for a short period of time, he brought in this training operation. They call themselves the program, not the program, but the program. And essentially it is a team building couple of days. It's Navy SEAL-esque. You're doing log carrying and you're doing things as a team and trying to essentially do these tasks to build leadership within different individuals and within your team. Like, it's a great experience. A lot of different college football teams do it across the country. And so they came to Baylor, and on the last day, one of the tasks to finish the entire program was do a jumping jack in unison. So everyone counts together on a 3 count, all start together, all finish together, all count in unison together. And we've been up at like 3 a.m. on this day, and it's the very last thing we get to do. And the way it was posed to us was, okay, there is no redo here. Like, you either do it or you don't. Either way, we're done. It's on y'all to do it, was what the instructor of the program said. Anyways, go for it. Don't get it done. Frustrating, too bad, end of the program. Let's all get on the bus and go home. Because it was a crazy morning. Like, just a lot of just intense drills you're doing to try and, get you out of your comfort zone and build leadership and all that. Before we get off the bus, when we get back to the facility, Matt Rhule says, hey, everybody meet back here around 1 o'clock. We're going to do that jumping jack. Like, he made sure everybody came back to the facility several hours later after everybody got up at like 2, 3 a.m. to go do this program. He wanted to make sure we're going to do this jumping jack. I don't care if we never do a jumping jack on the football field. We're going to finish this thing the right way. Small detail, but that mattered to him. And so all these little things that are happening in Nebraska, they're frustrating, they drive you crazy. That's why Matt Rhule is here, to get those things out of what Nebraska has internally right now. So it's a climb, it's a process, it's all those things, all those cliches, but it's 100% true for how Matt Rhule operates. I'm excited to see it. You hate what happened yesterday for a variety of reasons, but the long-term vision, I believe, for Matt Rhule is still very much intact. Not here to make excuses, not here to make light of losing. Nobody is okay with losing. I promise you. I promise you. If you're a Nebraska fan, I know you're not okay with it. They're not okay with it internally, but they're building. All right? So we'll keep an eye on Nebraska the rest of the way. Make sure you're subscribed. We're live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Want you a part of this now. Follow me on the socials, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and Instagram at Judy Pickell. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.